Hey y'all, it's live with the KHive. Say hello if you're out there. We are a little bit on CP time, but we had to fellowship a little bit about all the stuff that's going on before we came live. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey Axel, hey B. It's gonna be a good show, y'all. Hey, not just here for the comments. Marvel, Deb, KS. Let's see, anybody on YouTube? Yes, Sydney is at a wedding and Heather is, just busy. Business is booming. So we're happy for her. And that I did talk to her earlier this week, though, and she's doing well. You know what? I don't blame her for taking time off of all this madness that's going on.
It's a lot. You gotta have a lot of, you gotta have a lot of stamina to constantly stay on here. Because child, they are trying it every day, every minute of every hour because they just can't let up. They ain't got no lives, child. I know they tired because I am.
Yeah, but we gonna keep the momentum going. Okay, let me start a couple more people and then we're gonna get started. Hey Rita, hey Matt, hey Next Day, MD Turp, Mary, Jackie, Peppy's, Kim, Shayna. Kim says to y'all, hey you all, stressful times, need you guys to show. Well, we're here to help. Hey Elaine, Liana, Deb, Debbie, Carol. Okay. So, hey Jinxie. Okay, so I'm gonna turn it over to you, Drew, to get us going.
That's what's up. You already know. All right, we just gonna do this like this. Yo, welcome back. It's another episode of Live with the KHive, and as I always say, KHive, stay live, whether it's night or the daytime. At some point, I'm gonna write a new rhyme. I promise you. Maybe after our girl's name. But let's go ahead and reintroduce ourselves. I am your host, Drew. Comments, I shorten it to Drew because people don't like using the comments too long. Look, less syllables, save time in your life, trust me. I'm gonna try to get this to the letter D. Anyway, chilling here in my white tee. Yup, in my white tee. With a wonderful cup of what was supposed to be Pinot Grigio, but I looked and found out I didn't have that, so I had to settle for Fanta Pineapple. Pineapple Fanta, y'all. Listen, we just had to go ahead. You work with what you got. You work with what you got, all right? But anyway, we're going to move on down the list, you know what I'm saying? Figure out who we got rocking with us. Man, Kenny in here with the PPE, you know what I'm saying? Keeping it safe. What's going on with you?
What's up, y'all? Y'all know it's Kenny, ducking and dodging bullets, child. Drinking some pink Moscato. So, but that's pretty much it. Let's get into it, y'all.
Man, yo, that's crazy. Look, man, you need to put a mixtape out, bro, for real. I mean, like, since you made it through this, bro, I'm telling you, yo, just 8 songs, bro. Hey, your rap career, this is it. This is that launch pad, bro. Anyway, no, thank God you're safe, though, for real. We're going to move it on over to Miss Maya Contreras. What's happening?
Gin and tonic, because it's been a fucking day. So I'm gonna just say it that way. I'm gonna cuss. I'm sorry, I have to do it. It's been a day. So I'm having a gin and tonic. I'm gonna relax. It's gonna be okay. I'm ready. Thanks, Drew.
Word up. This really does feel like Around the Horn on ESPN. I love it. And of course, we cannot be overlooked. Of course you can. We talking about Black Reviews. We got Reese in the mother freaking building. What's going on, girl?
Hey y'all, I am having a mule, but I'm not your mule, and neither is Kamala Harris. So here's, let's get into it.
Fantastic. Well, let's get it going. Let's get it going. First off, obviously COVID, big deal. Maya, I just want to go ahead and just have you talk about that, where we stand with this COVID-19.
Sure. So I'm sure a lot of you have seen some of the information that came out. I believe last night, Vanity Fair did an article about Jared Kushner and how the White House, I don't know what kind of spin this is. There's a bit of spin here saying that they had a preparedness plan, but they decided to give up on it because COVID seemed to be disproportionately hitting blue states, which means states with a lot of Black people, a lot of brown people in it. So they gave up on the plan because, hey, they're kind of happy about it. And now they're seeing that COVID is in red states, but it is still disproportionately hitting Black and brown people. I said it a couple of weeks ago, there's a racial data tracker board, and it gives you the numbers of what's happening. It's run by Dr. Ibram X. Kendi at the Anti-Racism Center, now located in Boston University. There's still another one in Washington, D.C. And right now, when you go through it, you can see that there's at least 30,000 Black men and women and children that have died from COVID. That is a massive portion compared to the total overall number, which is around 152,000 right now. So you can see we're a sizable number of that. The Latino population is also dying disproportionately as well. And you can go down the tracker and check it out. Now, I want people, for those who are watching right now, they're like, when are you guys gonna get into all the stuff that happened today with Kamala and this? We're going to get into all that later in the hour. I do want to touch on for a second that the fact that this is all related. How this country regards Black and brown people has been shown through this administration and their disregard in that. And that is so deeply entrenched in our society. And this is why we're saying and why we're defending Kamala and why we stand up for her, because it's a symptom of what has been going on in this country. And that is why we're standing up, because what the White House is doing is so beyond the pale. It is so entrenched in white supremacy that they are allowing, they're literally hoping that they're killing off the Black and brown base of people before they vote in November. This is why they're okay with us having our kids go to school, because they're hoping that it's going to help destroy Black and brown families as well. It's hard to wrap our heads around the fact that people could be that mean or that evil, but that is the story. So if you all want the data, if you want to see the numbers, if you want to share them with people, I suggest going to the covidtracking.com/race. And you can see that, and it goes by state. So it can tell you what the numbers are in your state, okay? And I know that Reese, I think, was going to touch on the COVID disparities task force, I believe.
Yes, so Senator Kamala Harris obviously was literally one of the first people that I recall, and I was watching CNN of all things, round the clock, to tackle the fact that this disease, infection, or virus is disproportionately impacting Black and Latino communities. And she talked about all of the environmental justice issues that lead to these things. It's not a matter of personal responsibility. That's something I want to emphasize, that Kamala also emphasizes. But she's more than just talk. She's actually put forth legislative solutions. And I know that the question has been asked plenty of times, so what's the point of putting forth all these bills? They're not going to be passed. Mitch McConnell is going to ignore them. Well, you have to take on the fight. And so she introduced the COVID Racial and Ethnic Disparities Task Force, which doesn't just collect data, but it actually is a mechanism to make sure that resources are getting to the areas that are most impacted, particularly Black and brown communities. Well, that task force bill was actually wrapped into the defense bill, the defense authorization. And it was bipartisan. Actually, Ron Johnson, who I have no love for, be clear, worked with Kamala Harris to get major aspects of her COVID Racial and Ethnic Disparities Task Force into that bill. And so that's what's really important. You know, sometimes these bills, and this is not the first time, there's several times where Kamala Harris's bills have actually been incorporated into another bill as an amendment. And we've seen that happen on the House side, because she often introduces bicameral legislation where those things are introduced and make it through the House as amendments or things of that nature. So Kamala Harris is on the job when it comes to tackling these racial and ethnic disparities, and that includes the Latino community. You know, she's been on Univision, she's been on a lot of platforms. She doesn't just talk to the Black community, she doesn't just talk to the white folks either. She goes to the AAPI community. She's done forums for that. She talks to everybody, the Native American community. She has so many intersectional policies and lenses and cultural competencies. And that's what we care about. Okay. So that's what I have to say about that. But I do want to mention too that, and Kenny is going to go into several of Kamala's legislations, bills rather. But this week, the unemployment benefits are going to expire. The $600 a week extra that the Democrats fought really hard for, that's going to expire. And the Republican proposals have been just completely pathetic. I mean, $200 to $400 and means tested and just inadequate. And they are so shook about the notion of people getting paid more than poverty wages that they are going to just leave all these people hanging. And in addition to that, the moratorium evictions, which to be clear, didn't cover every renter in the country. It covered certain renters, but even that's going to expire. And I've seen some just staggering statistics on who's going to be impacted from that. I don't know if you guys saw that there were protests outside of, I think it was Louisiana, where people were physically blocking landlords from going into the courthouse and filing eviction documents. They were literally hands up and blocking them. And so it's worked to a certain extent, but that's not feasible. And this is going to be a massive cliff of potential evictions now that this eviction moratorium is expiring. But I think Drew is going to talk about the HELP Act and the Relief Act, which Kamala is, putting forth to try to protect those folks.
Okay, so I guess I'll just jump into the monthly economic crisis report act. So just, piggybacking off of Reese, pretty much, of course, hazard pay is gone. I can tell you based off of Bay, his is gone. Okay, he's not getting the next check. It ain't gonna be a little higher than it needs to be. So a lot of people are gonna be a little struggling right now. Kamala Harris introduced the economic monthly crisis support act back in May. And what it basically does is it gives people who are making $125,000 a year or less literally $2,000 collective universal basic income. And it also gives you an additional $2,000 per child up to 3 children. If you're married, of course, it's $4,000. But what that basically is going to do is it's going to allow people who literally, just like me, I'm also an essential worker. I also work based off of commission as well. I'm not getting any extra benefits. I'm actually losing money by going into work. And I can't quit my job. I can't, file for unemployment or anything like that based off of my hours because I'm already a part-time worker. So people like me are literally risking life and limb and getting nothing right now. A lot of us are literally pinching our pennies, running through our savings, living off of credit. I think Drew's going to talk about that a little bit later. But this needs to pass. And honestly, a lot of us, we can actually push on this. We can voice our opinions. We can talk about it. And a lot of people don't even know that this is actually Kamala's bill. Like when I was looking it up, for some odd reason, Bernie Sanders' name is popping up when it's actually Kamala who actually introduced the bill and actually wrote it out. He's just a co-sponsor. So I want to go ahead and dispute that because every time you look up the bill, his name pops up. He is just a co-sponsor. That's it. It's not his. So that's pretty much the bill. I mean, you can go ahead and jump in, Drew.
I appreciate you.
Wait, did you say $2,000 a month though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Unless I was breaking up. Did y'all miss? I swear I said it like 2 times.
No, you might have been saying it. I was responding to comments on my bad.
Yeah, well, I think most people are making, most people are struggling are ones making below the $120,000 the threshold. So yeah, that $2,000 a month definitely is paying, at least going to benefit a lot of people. But let me go ahead and just jump in here real quick because I know we want to get to the nitty gritty. So let me just go ahead and give you the facts. Maybe I'll take notes. I'm going to go ahead and speak as clearly as possible here. First off, we also, in keeping with everything, Kamala Harris has been the one behind what we call the Relief Act in order to make sure that we keep Americans in their homes really throughout this entire COVID-19 pandemic. We see money, the payment stop, $600 payment stop. Folks are getting nervous. How am I going to pay this? Now, with this being the case, well, when Kamala Harris introduced this particular act, the Relief Act, bans evictions, foreclosures, utility shutoffs, bans rent increases. Hello, if you live in a coastal city, negative credit reporting during this particular instance as well. This should not be held against you. And basically, even when it comes to banning evictions, advanced evictions, and foreclosures, really for a full year. So we got a little, some time to work with. It'll incentivize certain moratoriums on energy and water shutoffs and helps, just for low income households after the moratorium is lifted as well, so they have the ability to go ahead and recover from that. It bans rent increases, thank God, because every year it goes up. It actually provide a full 18 months, that's a year and a half, to make up any missed rent payments. As a matter of fact, live in LA like me, well, anywhere, our building, they actually put it on our door, point blank, the entire bulletproof bullet point thing to let it know what would be happening. Let us know you have up to 18 months to do that. But also, the good part is it does protect tenants and mortgage holders by eliminating penalties and late fees. It facilitates modification of loan terms as well, and it stops landlords and mortgage servicers from reporting unpaid rent to your credit reporting. Because again, that is not fair, not in this time. Let's just, move past that. The other thing though, but it holds exploitative landlords accountable because they are out there. Again, especially out here in California. Mine is good, but I've heard stories out here. But basically what they do is it actually provides state attorneys general with subpoena and prosecution power. Hello. Oh, the AG's a cop. Anyway, it provides them the weaponry, the guns to actually investigate violations of renter and homeowner protections. It also establishes tenants and homeowners' rights to legal assistance when facing eviction or foreclosures. And the greatest part, in my opinion, when I say greatest part, but also it will fund legal assistance to help tenants and homeowners protect their rights in court. So even if you don't have money, listen, look what we're going through. It's in question. You saying, well, I ain't got no money from the lawyer. Don't worry about that. That's also being included as well. And this is the foresight of Kamala. There's not an argument. Anybody with this kind of foresight, I'm gonna hold it together. We're going to Reese. I know you want to mention, but you're right.
Yeah, can I mention though too that this is consistent, in particular Kamala's advocacy for renters and homeowners, because this is something that she I shouldn't say single-handedly because there's no I in team, but she remarkably led on homeowners' rights. Not only did she secure a $20 billion record mortgage settlement from the banks who were, predatory lending and all that kind of things, and she fought very hard for that. There are going to be people that try to discredit her, but if you actually Google the article, it was Kamala and the 99%, and it was actually praising Kamala. This was years ago, before she was running for president. People started throwing all the shade at her. It was actually praising her for her advocacy for the 99%. And so after she secured that settlement, she actually worked on the Homeowners Bill of Rights. And that is a landmark package that passed in California to prevent the kind of foreclosure crisis that she inherited when she became AG. And it was held throughout the state, and it has a lot of these protections. And she also had the Mortgage Strike Force task. Okay, or Mortgage Strike Task Force, there we go, which went after these people, these mortgage bankers and these other people that were preying on, lenders and things like that. And so she has the record of actually accomplishing protections for consumers. It's something that she's done for an extended time. And, she could make it happen if we had a more, pliable Congress, or maybe it's some way to sneak it into another bill. But this is consistent with her record for now well over a decade.
Like I told you, man, I'm not going to call her, and I mean no disrespect. Now maybe I can word this better last time, but I said that she was predictable, and that's not the case. I thought that was maybe not the best uses of words. But what I can say is she's consistent. You can tell what direction she's going in and who she's looking to protect. One thing, though, based on that consistency, check this out, y'all. Check this out. So remember that last part I said, well, you don't have to really worry about the legal representation if you're in there because, again, her particular the Relief Act will assist you with legal assistance or funds legal assistance to help the tenants and the homeowners if you're in court. But remember, it's Ayanna Pressley and Rosa DeLauro, I think, matter of fact, have the HELP Act, as a matter of fact, which is mainly geared. One of the major components of that is something called emergency solutions grants. And what they do is they actually provide funding to states and localities for programs related to things like homeless prevention and outreach to go toward funding legal representation for those on the verge of being evicted. So again, you see the consistency. Again, it's about making sure the folk, okay, if you got to go to court, let's make sure you got something to pay for it. Because there actually is research done to show that, look, if you provide tenants access to counsel, it does really dramatically improve the chances of in court and housing courts, and the odds are a lot more favorable for them in that situation. So again, the consistency, foresight, the ability to see what people need, and just this is all record. In my mind, I got Maya's voice going. What are you waiting for? There's no reason. It's not hard. That's my Maya destination. But seriously, this is a no-brainer, and I wanted to get that out there. Hope y'all took that down. But yes, did anyone else want to comment on it? Kenny, did you want to jump in?
Just don't forget the homelessness bill that she also introduced as well, and she also was working with Maxine Waters on that. So I mean, it's just like Kamala Harris's record shows that she's for the people. I mean, and that's the reason why we advocate so hard for her, because a lot of us are being left behind. A lot of us don't really get representation or feel seen. Kamala Harris gives us that. So you wonder why we're so energized and so, loyal to Kamala Harris, because she's been loyal to us. So we're just reciprocating that love and that loyalty. That's all it is. I mean, if it turns into hot, passion, I mean, it is what it is. And if you just can't stand the heat, then you might want to move out the way.
Period.
Can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. And Kamala's very comfortable in the kitchen. Have you seen them greens? She make a mean pot of greens. I'm telling you right now.
Yes, you saw her with the greens, right? At Thanksgiving, she got those greens from South Carolina, by the way. That's just right.
Oh yeah,
for me.
Nice. Well, I did want to add, this wasn't on the agenda today, and I'm not going to go into detail, but I do want to add, speaking about tackling racial disparities, one of the bills that she's introducing this week, I don't know if she actually introduced it, but there was reporting on it, was the Fibroids Research and Awareness Act, with Congresswoman Yvette Clarke, and this is $10 million a year for 5 years, it was $30 million a year, for 5 years. So it's $150 million of funding. And fibroids is something that disproportionately impacts Black women, and it leads to all kinds of health complications, including often hysterectomies. And so I really appreciate Senator Kamala Harris's advocacy on that. Because this is again, it's in keeping with her advocacy for issues that disproportionately impact Black women, like her Black maternal mortality bill that she championed, was the first bill ever to specifically address Black maternal mortality, called the Maternal Act, in the Senate ever. And she also championed Black Maternal Health Awareness Week. She was the first to introduce that in the Senate. Now this was the third year that has happened. Also, she introduced an Environmental Justice Act. I mean, there are several things that she did this week that, with all of the inside the Beltway type of, smear campaigns going on, a lot of that got lost. So, go to harris.senate.gov. and just look at the press releases, because there's so much this woman is working on. In addition to attending John Lewis's funeral, God rest his soul, she was really, 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 really working. She was putting in work this week. So I just want to shout her out for that.
I'm going to just touch on that really quick, because one of the reasons why I support Kamala Harris is because, and I've said this before, each of her policies is a brick that builds on each other. When she's talking about the fibroid issue, my best friend has fibroids. I was going to do a weekly show with her because she has consistent health issues, though it's very hard to do. She's outspoken about this. She's actually a doula. She's actually a death doula, my best friend. And so she immediately, when she went to the doctor, she went to a white doctor, and he immediately wanted to throw out her uterus, because that was the first thing he thought to do. Come to find out, that's not anything that she needs to do. Thank God she knows herself, and she's aware of the bias. So Kamala Harris's policies are addressing and protecting someone like my best friend, Tanya Abernathy. Hi, Abernathy, I love you. Because what's going to happen is you go to a doctor, you have a fibroid issue, you have a bias issue, you have Black maternal health issue. These all tie together. But Kamala Harris is going, putting them brick by brick by brick to strengthen something to protect Black women and to protect the Black community. So that's why when someone says, well, that just seems like one little specific issue. No, it's part of a larger package of issues that you have to address. And that's why I think that Kamala Harris is absolutely brilliant at how she goes about putting those package of policies together.
And if I can take one liberty too, I just to underscore how much Kamala's been working. I'm not a big fan of people who just read headlines. Okay, I actually decry that, or people who just read captions. But I just went to harris.senate.gov, and this work week started Monday, July 27th. Okay, I'm going to start on Monday, July 27th. I'm just going to read the news press releases, the headlines. Okay, July 27th. Harris, Menendez, Durbin, Schumer, Democrats once again call on Trump to grant TPS for Venezuelans. That's something we've talked about on this show, how she's been a supporter of TPS status for Venezuelans. Harris, Leahy, Judiciary Democrats, she's on the Senate Judiciary Committee, pressed Chairman Graham for committee action on the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. Harris demands answers on postal service, plans to secure vote by mail for upcoming elections. She had her Vote Safe Act as well. That's a throwback. Harris, okay, that was July 28th. Also July 20th, Harris, Presley, DeLauro unveiled bill to provide critical lifeline for families facing eviction amid COVID-19 pandemic. Also July 20th, Harris, Sanders colleagues introduced masks for all to curb deadly coronavirus surge. Remember, if everybody wears a mask, if you have 90% people wearing a mask throughout the country, we could drastically reduce and safely reopen the economy and schools in a matter of 4 to 8 weeks.
We got 40% stupid people here. My bad.
I know. Unfortunately, we're nowhere near that number. Also, July 28th, Harris, Merkley, I'm saying her name wrong. Anyway, colleagues introduced bill to protect consumers from dangerous utility shutoffs. July 20th as well, Harris senators urge inclusion of critical healthcare privacy bill and COVID-19 relief package. Also, July 28th, Harris Hassan colleagues call on Facebook to stop spread of climate change disinformation on its platform. July 30th, Harris, Booker, Duckworth introduced comprehensive legislation to achieve environmental justice for all. July 30th, Harris introduces legislation to support uterine fibroids research and education. July 30th, Harris, Sinema, Corrin introduced bipartisan legislation ensuring special districts receive COVID-19 relief funding, providing critical services to millions of America. July 30th, Harris, Ben, and colleagues introduced legislation to bolster Medicaid coverage for COVID-19 related treatment. And July 31st, Harris, Brown, Warren call on CFPB to protect borrowers from discrimination. That's just what made it into the press release. So she's been busy. She's working for the people. Even as everybody is talking about her all around, she still does the work and she still leads.
I love it.
So I'm gonna make a comment right there. First off, you just and I keep coming back to this. First of all, it's very hard to keep up with her. I feel like I can keep up with pretty much everybody else, what they're doing, what they're up. So I can't keep up with Kamala else. Well, I don't say I can't. If I didn't have a job, I probably could. But like, and shout out to like if I had more free time to give. But no, like she's literally, I think one of the best lyrics to describe it is she's moving at a velocity that'll break his stopwatch if you clocking me. My concrete jungle is like Jumanji. Well, if anybody know anything about cannabis, nobody. That's back in the day right there. But
or you also, could just say Diddy can't stop, won't stop. Come on now.
Okay, that too. But cannabis. Like, concrete jungle is like Jumanji, but other than what you see in the cinema. A 5 foot. No, anyway, I'm gonna go there. Anyway. Also, but Maya made a good point too, and I wish I thought about this also. Is that you actually tell her policies all they appear to like to be built on top of each other, like it's a brick, and actually to borrow from DC native Wale, who is very friendly with the Howard campus and such. He said, "If a brick is a brick, to a brick you can build." Okay, and that's what that's what it is. And she uses a brick. It's all about brick. There's a song called "Bricks" by Wale. Y'all check that out. It's one of my favorite. It's him. And who is it? Yo Gotti, love it. Anyway, moving on, unless anybody else has any other reactions.
I mean, you can talk about those bricks, but most of those bricks that she's building all these policies on comes from her executive experience that other people don't have. So, I mean, she doesn't have to be taught to be vice president. She doesn't have to be taught if she has to, some odd reason, go into being president. So this is something you don't teach somebody. This is just something that you have. So just want to throw that out there. But
yeah, you can't teach intersectionality. You can't teach cultural competency. You can't teach coalition building in the way that Kamala so authentically demonstrates it. in her core beliefs and her morals and how she has legislated, how she has been an executive. But I do want to read off a comment because somebody mentioned Kamala must have a phenomenal staff and team for her to do all this. And so I want to shout out Kamala Harris's Senate staff because they actually are phenomenal. And I want to point out, you've seen all the things that we've listed off just in the past 5 days. She has one of the highest diversity rates of the entire Senate, okay? It's over 60%. And she's had that since the beginning. And they consistently churn out policies that are among the best rated. If you look at the rating on the Rent Relief Act and the LIFT Act, and when it was rated against Sherrod Brown's bill and against Cory Booker's bill and Ro Khanna's bills, and there was a couple of other ones, she had the highest impact in terms of reducing the poverty rate. So she gets it done. So I want to shout out her staff, one of her key economic advisors, wonderful, wonderful Black woman. I love her to death. And there are so many talented people of all races. Don't get me wrong. I'm Team Kamala. You could be Black, white, whatever the situation may be. But a lot of times when people look at diversity as deficiency, they look at it as a cosmetic thing. And Kamala Harris's staff and the absolute superior bills, thoughtful bills that are intersectional, demonstrates the power and value of diversity.
And it translates based off of what, unfortunately, what these articles are telling you versus actually people who are actually from California. Because I just wanted to just shout this out. I was going to say this later on with, the Operation Block Black Woman, since they're saying for some odd reason people from California don't want Kamala Harris as VP. Literally, there was an article just posted today from a Hispanic LA, and it pretty much says, and this is the title. It says, "Tell Biden Kamala Harris should be his candidate for vice president." It is literally a good read. I definitely recommend everybody do it. This is actually for people from California. So you're talking about diversity, and she has a good, Latin base, so I would definitely recommend, Joe, you might want to definitely look at that, being that you're slipping, bruh. You're slipping and sliding in the Black and the minority situation. So I just want you to go ahead and fix that. And, they calling for Kamala, so.
Well, we'll teach them not to get caught lacking, for real, because that's what we can't have happen. You do what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, by the way, before we move on to the next topic, I want to shout out Maya again. The Mayathon, you a soldier. You are a soldier. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You kept going and going and going. Energizer ain't got nothing on you. They put the battery in your back. You just kept beating that drum.
How did you do it, Maya?
How did I do it?
Yes, panic. I was jumping in back and forth. Every hour I'm like, okay, let me see what she's going. Let me see what she's doing. You were just just going.
I'm worried about our democracy ending, so that motivates me. That keeps me going. Hey, let's not make democracy go away. And I also wanted people to recognize that the electorate is incredibly diverse, and that people, BIPOC community across the board, are kind of getting ignored. And I'm recognizing that as I'm watching MSNBC and CNN and even PBS, that they're not addressing what Native voters are dealing with, what trans voters are dealing with Latinx outreach, what they're dealing with disabled voters are dealing with. So to me, I was like, I want to make sure we have a conversation about all of that. And I was very happy to have a conversation with Reese too about the Black women that are running for office that don't seem to be talked about also on the news. So thank you, Drew, for saying that. I appreciate it. It was nuts. I feel my husband was like such a trooper. He was like throwing food at me from across the room and like making me coffee, But yeah, for those who watch and continue to watch it online, I appreciate it. Thank you, Drew.
No, most definitely. Matter of fact, I tuned in. I actually went back and after the fact and then rewound and watched you and Reese's segment, which was fun to watch as well. Your friend Mia taught me a number of things too. Matter of fact, for a couple times she was actually speaking like my mind. Like I was just like, yo, I'm thinking that. I just don't say it out loud. She was like, boom, and I was like, yo, this is what he's saying. No, but and you had Sabrina, yo, listen.
Yeah, I was very happy. I was happy she was able to join me for a minute and talk about her campaign. And I don't think she's getting enough attention in the media as well. I mean, I like that she said, listen, I know that I'm a national figure, But at the same time, this is about a local election. This is about my local seat. I want to talk about that. And I was glad that I could do that, but that should be what CNN does and MSNBC and everybody else. They should be also interviewing her about what her seat would do. What does county commissioner do in Miami, and why is that a powerful seat? So yeah, so part of my thought was, yes, I'm obviously worried about democracy, but I'm also worried about the fact that we are really ignoring 45% of this country when it comes to the election. I'm tired. I'm so tired of it. So yeah, I'm hoping to do more voting. Not that, Kenny, I'm not doing that again. That was crazy. I think, like, how am I doing it? Not going to do that again. I will do much shorter, like an hour. I'll do that. I want to have Reese's energy where I can do something live once a day. I don't think I can do that either. Once a week, people. Once a week, I'll talk about voting rights.
Awesome. You know, that was my second favorite marathon that I'm going to see this year. My first favorite being 24 hours of A Christmas Story on Christmas Eve, right before that. You know, Ralphie, You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. Classic, can't beat that.
Drew, I watched that. I watched 24 Hours of that on TBS every year because my favorite part is when he can't put his arms down.
I like seeing him beat the heck out of that bully, but that's funny as heck. And that's what we got to do on the ballot box in November. Also, but Sabrina Fulton did bring a great point up about how she even recognized, and I was thinking about this when it comes to Trayvon, but I want to use this to transition into Reese, because I do want to talk about as far as, you know, setting the record straight here with Kamala. But one thing Sabrina, and I always thought about this, I never knew for sure, but Sabrina Fulton confirmed is that, you know, she has been working with Miami-Dade, as far as, you know, police department, as far as with her, you know, in her job and being able to provide for her family and such. And even she sees a need for reform, and also seeing the need to make sure that police are not just held accountable, but, you know, that they're an essential part of structure. But you can't be essential if you are acting outside of your, you know, your boundaries. If you are not, you're unchecked, you run them up. And I always thought about that. I always thought about, like, what if in my mind, I always had this one thing, like, what if there was just one more officer on patrol? They could have got there before George Zimmerman. What if? And if it had been a black guy, like, what would the outcome have been different? Or what if Trayvon had been allowed to grow up? I'm like, yo, like, what if he may have maybe become, he might have gone into law enforcement with that kind of influence. You never know. Matter of fact, I watched The Old Guard on Netflix, and they outlined how these people were saving lives throughout history, but you notice the people that they saved are the people that are going on to do these great things. And that's one of the things, when you snuff out a life, you kill the potential. And what kind of potential did Trayvon have? What lives may he have potentially saved, depending on what? And so, you know, and this is why it's so important for things like justice and policing to take care.
Yeah, I want to say really quick too, since we're going to go to setting the record straight. Speaking of setting the record straight, this part of the racism and the systemic oppressions in our system is the fact that Black women have a diversity of feeling and conversation and ideas and philosophies about how we want our society to be saved. And so that's why I want someone like Sabrina Fulton to be able to express what she wants when she wants in her community. Part of the record that Trump is trying to put into our society is that we all want to destroy the police and get them immediately out of there and be a lawless society. And that's not even correct in the first place. But this is why there is a diversity of opinion. And so I'm glad that Sabrina Fulton was able to have her voice and to speak and say what that meant. I thought that was incredibly important for her to express her feelings of what she wanted. So,
and I can speak on experience, because I ain't never felt safe since Monday until I saw the damn police officer. Lord God, y'all don't understand the feeling. And I guess unless you're a victim, I guess you don't understand. But I mean, not all cops are bad cops. I mean, but we also need more representation. It's good to have somebody in the system who actually understands racial profile and stuff like that. Because I mean, if it wasn't for, now I had actually a few Black cops that was actually showing up. The person that I was talking to was a Black cop. Honestly, you know, with situations like that, hearing about shootings, honestly, even though I'm one of the victims of it, I mean, most of the times you would think, oh my God, they probably just shoot me or something like that. They would think that I have something to do with it, or I'm involved, or I'm the person or perpetrator. So there's a reason why we need people who look like us, and it's important to have the justice and policing and racial bias training, etc., stuff like that Kamala Harris worked to actually, get put in. So, I'm just telling you, we need representation, child. If I feel a little bit more safe when I see people in uniforms that look like me.
I say like this: your next door neighbors weren't the one running the check on you. We'll say that right up. And I would love to live in a society, and I hope we can. If we can move into a society where we no longer, like, there's no need at all for police, I'd be all for it. I can go to sleep. I ain't got to lock my door at night. You know what I'm saying? Like in the old days, like how you used to do. You used to go sleep with your door unlocked and be good. Now, man, they be snatching people up broad daylight and stuff. But anyway, with all that being said, long ass segue. Because the worst thing in the world is having a police department that's unhinged. I don't mind having police, but I don't like it unhinged, because that's what we get into these situations now. Reese, can you set the record straight on Kamala and police?
Yes, and I echo what's already been said about Maya. Maya thought it was so great that you had me on, but it was more great how you just have the stamina of a warrior. And what you did is so important. And I think I said to you, this is going to go in the canon of 2020. And so that's why it's so important what you did. And 2020 is still being written. And so maybe, what we do here, what you did, it will help write the chapter a little bit better, because you use your voice and your platform in a very powerful way. But yeah, I do want to talk about Kamala and policing, because again, this is another area where people cherry pick things and they like to make assertions based on what they feel like she should have intervened on. Okay. And so I have a couple of things to go through. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible, but let me just set it up this way. Okay. In San Francisco, when she was then district attorney. And there's police misconduct in San Francisco. Let me just explain to you how that works. Since 1982, the Office of Citizen Complaints handles San Francisco police misconduct claims. Okay. It was created by a separate city department by an amendment to the San Francisco City Charter in 1982 and placed under the direct supervision of the police commission. The DA is not involved in misconduct cases. Okay. Be clear about that. All right. So one of the things that people like to talk about is this bill, which is Assembly Bill 86. Now, let me just be clear about this. This was a bill that wanted to make it automatic for there to be police, for the Attorney General to take over investigations for police shootings. That's something that's handled by district attorneys, okay? And this whole concept that, Kamala Harris, if it weren't for her, this would have made it through and she should have championed and this and the other. Be clear, Kamala Harris was actually working on her own things, but I just want to explain a little bit about this bill. First of all, it died in the Appropriations Committee due to the price tag. It was $1 million per 50 DOJ investigations. The price tag is why it died, not because it didn't have a certain attorney general behind it. And I would also like to point out that when Kamala Harris herself sought to have an independent investigations, a special prosecutors unit within the Attorney General office and within the DOJ, she was not granted that funding. Okay. Again, $1 million per 50 DOJ investigations. She was directly shot down by the governor, Jerry Brown. I know it's unsexy to talk about appropriations and things like that, but that's what happened. Okay. It wasn't, she was being too skittish. She didn't want to piss off the police. No, they didn't like the price tag. And Kamala Harris can't write the check herself. Okay. They didn't like it in the assembly, and Jerry Brown didn't like it to give her the money for the special prosecutors. Okay. Also, let's also be clear about this. When she was district attorney, she had an experience with the state and the people like Dianne Feinstein and others who wanted to take away her jurisdiction as the district attorney to inflict the death penalty on a person who killed a cop. And she said, no, I ran on not having the death penalty. I'm not going to do that. And so it's understandable why she would say, you know what? I don't think that, it's a good idea automatically to take away these cases from local elected DAs. All right. But this again is not something that she fought. She did not fight this in any way, shape, or form. And eventually, as I've demonstrated, she actually came around to the need for a special prosecutors unit. Unfortunately, the money was not there for her to do that. Also, the Black Lives Matter protests were a part of her kind of evolving on that issue. And like I said, that's what she pushed for. Special prosecutors in the DOJ that were denied by the governor. The funding was denied. Also, as I mentioned earlier, she was actually working on her own policing reforms. Be clear about that, all right? When this Assembly Bill 86 came up, she launched one of the first things. If you look at her inaugural speech for her second term, you will see that she talked about policing reforms and things of that nature. And so shortly after her second inauguration, she launched the 21st Century Policing Working Group. That is something that's also been touted by the Obama administration. You might have heard it being referenced by Vanita Gupta, for instance, when she testified about the Justice and Policing Act. So she launched that, and she completed a 90-day review for the Division of Law Enforcement. That, like I said, shortly after she was inaugurated. So this whole notion that she sat up there and was hands-off and laissez-faire about police misconduct and policing reforms is ridiculous, okay? And she actually extracted key reforms in that. Some of the things that she did was she managed to have, body cameras for everybody in the DOJ. She had racial advisory, profiling and advisory board. She established the first certified implicit bias procedural justice training in the entire United States. And so these are things that she did. Okay, so a couple of other things that I want to mention is that, let me see. Okay, so there are a couple of cases that people like to mention. I'm just going to try to be quick about this. Mario Woods was a Black man who was shot in San Francisco. George Gascon was the DA, okay? Kamala Harris was AG. Again, DAs are the ones who prosecute cases, all right? You cannot have a concurrent DA and California DOJ concurrent investigation, and you cannot do that in the state of California, all right? And people wanted her to take over the case. Now, keep in mind that's something almost unprecedented to do. Now, mind you, nobody can actually point to where any of the rulings from any of these district attorneys were incorrect. They cannot point to corruption with the district attorneys. They don't like the outcome. But I'm going to skip forward to Stephon Clark. Stephon Clark happened when Xavier Becerra was Attorney General. And there was all this pressure on him to take over the investigation, from the DA, which he did. The investigation took 1 year. You know what happened? Charges were not filed. So having the Attorney General investigate something doesn't mean it's a silver bullet. It doesn't mean that there are going to be charges, even when there's pressure, even when that person might want to indict. The standard of force in California is what is reasonable, not what is necessary. And that's something that Senator Kamala Harris has changed or attempting to change in her Justice and Policing Act. So people have to really understand how this works. You say you want the AG to take it over, the AG takes it over, and there are no charges and people are still pissed. But anyway, George Gascon, he did take steps as he was DA at the time. And again, this is where funding came into. There was a backlog of police shooting investigations because of funding. But anyway, he took steps to increase the independence of the investigation. He moved it out of the hands of the police department into the DA's office, but it took years to complete. Mario Woods' investigation was completed, and he did not make a charge decision until May 2018. Kamala Harris had already been long gone by then, okay? So that's that on that, all right? It's unfortunate, but guess what happened? George Gascon, as a matter of fact, was one of the DAs, the only DA at the time, of his charging decision to support a bill called AB 931, which ultimately died in the legislature, surprise, surprise, in 2018, changing the standard for use of force. And AB 392 passed in 2019, changing the use of force standard. So this is a DA that obviously supports the changing of the use of force. He's obviously a person who took steps to be independent. There was absolutely no justification whatsoever for Kamala Harris to come in and take the case away from George Gascon. Okay. Then you have another situation, which was Ezell Ford. Okay. Now, she tapped the head of the civil rights section to monitor that case. Okay. But again, the district attorney was over that case, and they did not rule on charges until January 2017. They decided not to press charges. Again, Kamala Harris is gone January 2017. Now, nobody has made a substantive legal argument for why George Gascon and the district attorney in the Ezell Ford cases are corrupt, unethical, or even decided the case is wrong. So Kamala Harris is not the prosecutor. She did not have any reason to take over these cases that were handled by capable district attorneys. So I just wanted to set that absolutely completely straight, because there are people that try to cherry pick these cases. There are hundreds, unfortunately, of cases where people are shot in California by the police a year. Okay, it's $1 million for every 50 cases for the DOJ to investigate it. If they don't have the resources, then they cannot have an adequate investigation. So that means that people get away with the crimes. It's just common sense. And the last thing that I want to point out, I know I've gone over 5 minutes now, but I think it's important because you're going to hear more shit come up about her record. Why didn't she do this? Why didn't she do that? Okay. But I do want to point out that she has been consistent in her reimagining of policing since the beginning of her career. If you look at what the back on track is, that's a defunding the police argument in so many ways, and saying it costs $5,000 to give people jobs and counseling and $35,000 to put them in jail. So that's a defunding the police argument. You want to talk about how she expanded restorative justice in terms of expanding the courts to thousands of cases each year. These cases were diverted from the actual regular court process to the neighborhood courts, which is restorative justice process. All right. And she did many, many, many things like this. Again, as a senator, she has the Justice and Policing Act. She also had the Equal Act, which provides equal funding for public defenders compared to, district attorneys. And she had the public integrity. What is it? Anyway, it was the ending cash bail bill. Okay. She also had bill for women in prison, dignity for incarcerated women act. She has done more than her fair share of reform, and she's put her money where her mouth is. But it's absurd to suggest that Kamala Harris herself could have single-handedly stopped police misconduct, that she could have single-handedly prosecuted and convicted police shootings when it is an impossible standard in the state of California.
It's an impossible standard all over countrywide. You don't understand how hard it is to convict police officers, whether you're a DA. It is so hard to get a conviction. And what ends up happening, if you do not have an airtight, I'm like space astronaut suit, airtight case, you are throwing taxpayer money down the drain. And it's that matter of fact, even when you think you got an airtight case, Freddie Gray, I'm just gonna bring that up. Did Marilyn Mosby not bring charges? She sure did. Everybody in America was like, open and shut case, Johnson. No, it didn't. It's hard. And
she got crucified.
Yes.
For that. I read an article about her and her husband. It completely upended her life. She was crucified and people left her out to dry. But who was a person who stood by Marilyn Mosby and stumped for her in her re-election and said, you guys need to support this person and fundraise for her? Senator Kamala Harris.
That's right. Matter of fact, they tried to get Maryland this bar. They really tried to get that. So I want you to understand what you're going against. So, just no charge that. You know how expensive this is. You don't put money away. And so, and that's just the money. So that's just hard, bro. You can have all your ducks lined up, every T crossed, every I dotted, and still come away with nothing. But anyway, moving on. Now, hey y'all, it's time. This is what y'all been waiting on. We want to talk about what's been going on. Take a little sip real quick. think that's the vintage 1912. I ain't nobody that damn bougie.
Reese, you want to start us off?
Oh, we're gonna start off right now. Reese, do you want to start us off?
No. Somebody else start off. Don't start with me.
Oh, you want to start off? Okay. Kenny.
Go ahead, Maya, because I got some stuff to say, and I have some things I want to bring after we have the conversation.
I'll try to ease us into this conversation, because this is a conversation we could have for hours upon hours upon hours. I'll start from today, and then we'll work backwards. I was not happy to wake up and see a litany of garbage on my timeline of misogynoir. Politico, I'm used to. Hey, Christopher Cadalgo. I know you got to get that daily jab into Kamala Harris because of something gone wrong in your own personal life. I'm not really sure what it is. John Heilman, glad you joined up. Your midlife crisis is taking on a strange turn here. Take the Wu-Tang sticker off your computer. Maybe stop trying to throw in a cuss word in there. Stop sounding so edgy, and maybe get rid of the pinky thumb ring. It's not working out, okay? So I'm sorry. Y'all are so threatened by Kamala Harris. I don't know why she is walking across y'all's brain so much that you feel like you need to boot up the computer and write something terrible. We're done. Okay. I will say this. The reason why I'm frustrated about it is because you guys can't find anything. You can't find anything. So one guy on the internet did say, like, you know, what is the problem you have with her? If it's just that you think she's too ambitious, you all need to sit down. If you have something that's going to compromise national security, then you need to say it. That's clearly not the case. Kamala has already run for president. All of the stuff that would have come out would have already come out. This is the thing. And by the way, don't think that Kamala didn't vet herself. Are you crazy? If I was going to run for office, like most people, you get someone to investigate your background and they tell you if there's something wrong with it. They check your tax returns. They check old videos. They check all your timeline stuff. So that's not it. So my frustration today, and I'm just going to say this and then bounce into another thing, and then I'm going to pass it off to you guys. My frustration today was the fact that they were pitting two Black women against each other to try to null and void, really, Kamala. I will say that. They're using Karen Bass, and Karen Bass, I've got no hard feelings for Karen Bass. I'm sure she is a great person, but what they are doing is using Karen Bass to try to knock on Kamala Harris, and both of them are coming out. Both of it's disgusting. I didn't want to say the names of the stereotypes, and I'm not going to say the names of the stereotypes because it's too painful to me, but I knew exactly there's 4 stereotypes that Black women are subjected to. There's a great book about it. You can read, I gotta remember the woman's name who wrote it. I've read it like 3 times. It's called The Sisters Are All Right. Changing the Broken Narratives of Black Women in America. It's by Tamara Winfrey Harris. It's a great book, and she goes into the stereotypes. One of the things I like that she says, there's a stereotype of Black women called the sapphire, and that is was created by Amos and Andy in the 1950s of the angry Black woman. And she said, Black women aren't sapphires, we're diamonds. Because you put so much pressure on us, you see all the shine that comes off that, okay? And so this is why they're having a hard time dealing with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has dealt with this pressure her entire life. So she's ready. She's ready to be VP. She's ready to go. I want to talk about Bass for only about 20 seconds. I'm not here to disparage her. I'm not here to, I support all Black women that support us and support our communities, okay? One of the reasons why I feel like with Karen Bass, what's tough is 2 things. Cuba stuff, and now we saw tonight the Scientology stuff came out. That is really tough. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because this is part of the vetting process that is so painful when you are being picked for VP. The Daily Caller was the one that found out about the Scientology thing. I know a lot of people will say it was just a speech. She just gave a conversation. The thing is, this is about perception as well. In 2010, when she gave that speech, there was already massive evidence that the Church of Scientology had already been completely abusive to people that were a part of that church, okay? So I'm just gonna leave that aside. To me, that is now a non-starter. I'm just gonna leave it there. Now, regarding with her relationship with Cuba. I want to tell you right now, America's white supremacy, its displacement of natives, our history of violence against Black people and Black bodies. I have no problem with Karen Bass having gone to Cuba when she was a young person and seeing and feeling that their liberation was tied with our liberation in the United States. There isn't anything wrong with that. However, there is a complex history about how Cubans feel about Castro, and that is a sentiment that is still there. And the work that she did with, I think it was called the Bañeros, I can't remember which bridge it was, the Benteñeros Bridge, We Shall Overcome, the group that she worked with, they were trying to do good work down there. However, there are two right now. There is a Cuban representative in the United States, and there is a Cuban commentator, Fernand Armand. You all have seen him, Fernand Armandi. Okay, I'm just gonna say this. Fernand said she's gonna make, Karen Bass is gonna make Bernie Sanders look like Ronald Reagan. Too conservative. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in a bad way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's how all the work that she's done, again, not knocking someone's liberalness. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying this is an election year and this is going to be a tough thing to deal with. Two, when Castro died, she said, this is a big loss for Cuba. Okay, that is a really complex thing to say. And you have a Cuban representative that says she doesn't understand the relationship with Cuba. So I want this to go back to Kamala Harris. The only reason I'm mentioning that is because we are in the middle of the sweepstake right now. Because part of me is thinking Biden's team knows all this. He knows all that. And yet she's still in the story. They've let all these people say she's the number one pick. She's the number one pick. I gotta be honest now. Now I'm thinking she was never going to be the number one pick. This was a way to try to knock Kamala Harris. And again, I'm not pitting them. I'm against what happened today about pitting them together. But there's something really nefarious going on, and I don't like it. And so that is why, to me, when I wrote that thread today, when I said they're stereotyping Bass, and she doesn't deserve that. She's not a subservient woman. She has her own voice. She isn't just going to be quiet and listen to everything that Joe says. And Kamala Harris is not too ambitious, and there's nothing wrong with being too ambitious, just like it's not bad to be angry and Black at the same time. I just want the stereotypes to end. And I want Biden's team, by the way, to make some kind of statement soon. And also, can we stop with the sweepstakes? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of these garbage articles. It's painful for us to wake up every day and to see something awful. It's physically hurting me. I mean, today I was just like, you know what? That's why I started drinking, people. Because today it was just like, I can't. I was just like, I cannot deal with this. So I'm gonna leave it there. So I tried to warm it up a little bit. I tried to bite my tongue. By the way, my tongue's bleeding a little bit. So I was trying to bite it, so I didn't say too much stuff. But you see, Kenny, y'all take it away.
Let me say 2 words, Kenny. Let me do it. 2 words, real quick. It's just funny how these articles, these writers and such are pushing these women, and then they turn around and say, but Kamala, like they're the ones they try to get Karen Bass. She said, Kamala Harris. That was the first thing out of her mouth when they tried to push Marsha Fudge at one point. I like Kamala. Matter of fact, Karen Bass endorsed Kamala Harris for her Senate seat back in 2015. Everybody just set the record straight there. So she been new for a minute. But it's just interesting how the folk that you're trying to put in front of us and say, how about this one? Likes the one, they are also support the one that we want. So
but let's be clear, Karen Bass, and this is no shade, but let's keep it real. She is campaigning to be VP. She's sitting for endorsement with editorial boards for endorsements. She's sitting for interviews about her VP qualifications. She is telling people what they want to hear by pledging that she won't run for president, which is bizarre that anybody wants to do all this shit over again in 2.5 years right after midterm start. But she's supporting herself, but she also is savvy enough for people that think she's just some moron who's just be a pushover. She's savvy enough to know the optics of attacking Kamala. Okay, that's not a good thing to do. And she's savvy enough to know that an overt campaign against Kamala is not a good look. I think all of these women are savvy enough to know that, because you haven't seen any of them go at each other. So I just want to be clear that, you know, she has the right answers when asked about Kamala, and that is something I will absolutely give you credit for. But she is running to be VP. But she's not running to support Kamala. She's running to be VP herself.
But she really doesn't have any name record. Nobody knows who Karen Bass is. But even with that, I'm not trying to, you know, demean her, say that she's a no one or anything like that. I mean, even Kamala Harris, until she decided to run for president, she didn't have any name recognition going into this. I mean, this was hard work just to get her name out there. So that's something else. And I just want you to know, Karen, if you're watching, don't let these people fool you. They're not literally after you possibly being VP. They're just looking for a way out of Kamala, because Kamala Harris decided to challenge white patriarchy. That's all that happened. This has nothing to do with they think that you're more qualified or anything like that. They're just literally trying to undermine Kamala Harris. It's sad to see that all these white men are coming out of the woodworks to come out and constantly put out these articles. And it's sad to have like a constituency like Politico be able to be used to spread white supremacy and so openly about it. And the fact that who I thought would actually come out and say something, I was hoping that more Black influencers would come out and say something, being the fact that we're so pro-Black. But it sounds to me that we're just being a little selective when it comes to our pro-Blackness. I just wanted to read out a few things that I've seen, which is sad, but I'm hearing from other people who aren't in our constituency, who doesn't have a platform or a voice, who doesn't represent the Black community or claim to represent the Black community. I want to read something from Joe Walsh that he just posted today, because I want to take some screenshots, you know, because it's sad that people who, and it's sad, this is sad that I'm seeing people who look like me, who have a platform, but don't even represent us as a collective, because a lot of these people were after Bernie Sanders and Warren, who didn't get the Black vote, but whatever. He said, I'm not a Democrat, and it doesn't matter to me who Joe Biden picks the VP. The only thing that matters is Trump loses. But I like Kamala Harris. I think Biden-Harris would be a dynamic ticket. Seems crazy to me that so many supposed friends of Biden are taking shots at her. Okay, I want to read this again. This is from Jill Wine-Banks. She says, the sexist criticism and response makes me like Kamala Harris more. So and I got more, but just in other terms, the more that you attack Kamala Harris and attack minorities and try to silence her, the more we want to rally, fueling a fire that you're not going to be able to extinguish. So you might want to watch the things that you're doing. This is the other thing from Tom Watson. This is the toxic attacks on Kamala Harris from inside the campaign and the nuclear fallout are the first serious setbacks for Joe Biden's campaign. Since he sewed up his nomination, Democrats need to fix this disaster now, or it will cost us. So these are not Black people that are saying this. These are people who also call themselves conservatives. These are, I guess, white Midwesterns, if you want to put that. The only Black person I actually saw that actually came out to say something, I'm going to go ahead and give her, a shout out, is Joy Williams. She says, I have been angry about how some of these Democrats are treating Senator Kamala Harris. My words aren't yet a good fit for Twitter. So she can't come out and say things just like as Maya said, being labeled as a angry Black woman if she comes out and advocates and talks for Black women. But if Kamala Harris can't do it, well, what are we here for? What do you have a platform for if you can't be a voice? Knowing that Kamala Harris can't come out and denounce or, talk about these things. And since you say Kamala Harris is so ambitious, what was so ambitious about her dropping out of the race, knowing that she didn't have a clear shot at the nomination, dropping out and actually paying her staff a whole month? Now, a lot of people don't do that. If she's so ambitious, why didn't she just run run it till the wheels ran out. She's so ambitious and whatever. I'm done. I'm not gonna go. I'm already angry again. So I'm gonna let y'all continue. I'm on fire right now.
I'm gonna say something. Mark Lamont Hill, who is a former Jill Stein voter, and said he's a Morehouse guy too, professor at Temple. He's smarter than this man. I try to like this. But anyway, he actually had to come out and say, look, he said now this is how he views. He always says he doesn't agree with Kamala Harris's politics. I don't even know what that means because like you got the same goal. But anyway, he says there are many critiques to have of Kamala Harris. There are also reasons to be wary of anyone who wants to lead the American empire. But framing her as uniquely, excessively, and unacceptably ambitious is a practice clearly rooted in racism and sexism. He then goes on to say today that white men showing their ass on this Kamala stuff. This now, Nuke got it right there. And this is a dude who is not necessarily, he was a Bernie supporter, Jill Stein voter. But when you got folk, you know, again, like you said, outside of our constituency, who are looking at me like, yo, wait, this is distracting. I don't like Kamala because of this, but this is wrong. This is wrong. What are y'all doing? This is racist.
Bernie Sanders would have been leading the empire if he had won too, Mark. So I hope that you understand what that means, Mark. Okay? I'm sorry, I'm so tired of this narrative. Like, Kamala would have been leading the empire, but Bernie is not establishment. He is in the establishment. He is of the establishment. Stop. So, but thank you, Mark, for the backhand compliment, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like that he got it half right.
Yeah, you know, all these, I'm not going to cuss because this is not my show. All these folks with a backhanded compliments, that's a great way of putting it, Maya. I would have put it harsher. But I'm being nice-ish on this broadcast. Quick cloud chasing off of Kamala. We don't actually need your help. If you're going to be full of, you know, then just shut the hell up. Just sit it out. Why can't you unequivocally protect a Black woman? Mark. Why you got to add the disclaimers and stuff? Do people have a disclaimer, even though you're a Jill Stein voter? If somebody's coming for you, every time they say something, no. So why you got to add all the backhand compliments? I saw another person, Mehdi Hassan. There's a bad case to be made. You shut up too. Don't call out Chris Dodd and David Axelrod and Ed Rendell. You're them as well. You couch your sexism and your racism and your misogynoir as a policy difference, even though you misrepresent her policy. You couch it as a record issue when you misrepresent her record, when she supports the same policies of the people that you support. So you're just like them. So shut the hell up. Sit it out. I know you think you're doing your checklist, your quota checklist. Oh, look, I'm kind of an ally. You're not an ally. You're not an ally. You're just as bad. You're just a different kind of bad. Your bad has a pretext. So Mark, your services are not needed, sir. Maddie, your services are not needed, sir. Sit this one out. Oh, I saw a white girl talking about, oh, I don't even like Kamala Harris. Well, then shut the hell up. Don't even speak on it. Don't even speak on it. You're not needed here. If you cannot unequivocally, in this one case, it ain't even about policy. Sometimes I compliment people, sometimes I protect people, or I say something, and then people go on about all this. It ain't even about that. Did you hear all that in my tweet? No. So you don't have to put all that in your stuff. Sometimes you can just defend a person without a disclaimer, without trying to, oh my God, I know my followers are gonna drag me because people come on my stuff and they try to drag me and I tell them I don't give a F about none of that. That don't have nothing to do with what I'm talking about right now. So if you can't do that, then just shut the hell up and sit it out. Because your opinion ain't worth nothing anyway. Okay? Your little, what is it called? Your little quota. Your little woke check, you're not getting it. Your check is revoked. Your check bounced. Mark Lamont Hill, Mehdi Hassan, and everybody like you. that sat up there and dragged Kamala Harris under these pretexts of policy that you misrepresented, these pretexts of record that you misrepresented. Shut the hell up. Sit it out. Leave it to us. Just retweet somebody who knows how to properly defend a Black woman. Just retweet somebody. Don't retweet with a comment. Just retweet because you scared. You scared to just say it with your chest and have courage and protect a Black woman. So shut the hell up. I'm not giving nobody credit for nothing that's not unequivocal support in this instance without a disclaimer. If you have a disclaimer, then keep it because we don't need it. Kamala don't need it, and your opinion is not necessary. Your check bounced.
And let me just say this. For you people who are literally just sitting there in the wind, just waiting to see how this just works out. If Kamala Harris is choosing, and I know that she may be choosing, and I'm just going to go ahead and speak it into existence, she will be chosen. I'm going to remember every single one of you who sat there and was silent and said nothing and did nothing. I'm going to sit there and also call out the people for their bull, like Ricky Smiley. I'm going to call out you people for your bull using your platform to tear down Kamala Harris without any facts or receipts. And then when somebody talks to you and asks you, oh, well, can I come on your platform? Can we have a conversation? Can we go ahead and dispute the facts? Can we go ahead and do this? And you absolutely just sit there and stand silent, because there was many people I've reached out to and actually got some response. I'm not going to say any names, but I got some response that said, what does this have to do with me? The way that you brushed me off. So when Kamala Harris actually does meet that moment and breaks through, I'm going to remember every single one of you. And don't kiss her ass and say, Kamala, could you come on my platform? Kamala. Because it's going to happen. This is the same thing that you guys did to Barack Obama when he wasn't Black enough as well. I want you guys to remember that. Some people are actually real and don't necessarily care about name recognition in order to back somebody, because Kamala Harris has been doing that for a very long time. She was the first person to endorse Barack Obama before anybody actually got a hold of him, before he actually won Iowa. When people didn't actually give him a chance, she went and go campaign for him. She also helped with Stacey Abrams during the primary. So, she puts her money where her mouth is, and she doesn't just talk, she walks the walk. So I just want y'all to remember where you stood, because I know where I'm standing, and just remember where you stood in history too.
Yeah, and I just want to add that I want people to know that I had someone on Twitter say something, and it was nice of him to say it. He read my thread and he said, Maya, I didn't realize just how deep the misogynoir, the racism, all of that was in just that one article. And I was talking to my husband about this the other day, and I'm gonna try not to be frustrated. I'm trying not to be frustrated. This is the problem. You have a lot of white people on TV, a lot of white males on TV. They don't even know Black people. They say hi to the guy on the way into the building, right, at CNN or somebody, or the person that's helping write the copy. Oh, hi. So they think they do. They don't. And they think that they automatically have an insight and can do some commentary when they know nothing about it. Now, a lot of journalists don't have a background in transformative justice and social justice. They don't know any of that. They don't know that conversation. They don't know that language. They don't know what they're talking about. And yet, here they are with a massive platform and influence that can just get dumped on this. So when people talk about movements like Black Lives Matter and on, movements that are happening around the country right now, this is part of it. And I want people to see that this is not a separate thing that's happening with Kamala Harris right now. The way that they are just talking about her, that affects you. It affects me, but I want you to know it affects you too. This is people who think they should still control Black bodies, Black women's bodies, their work, and try to push us and keep us in a way that does not allow us to flourish when we are flourishing, right? They're trying to stop that. This is a real problem. It is an illness that this country has. And I really want people to understand that. And I also recognize the fact that not everyone is good at detecting it. Not everyone is like us on this panel that can pick up a tweet, pick up a paper, turn on a TV show, and know immediately that's a dog whistle. That is misogynoir. Not everybody knows that. A lot of us do, though. Okay. And so what I'm saying is, I am absolutely done with the way that they have handled it. Now, some blame goes to Biden's team. I'm worried now that y'all don't have that many Black people working on your team for you. I'm really worried about it. I know some do. I know Simone Sanders. Hello, Simone. I know Karen works. I know a couple other people work for your team, but are they not in your deepest inner circle? Because I know those women, and I know those women would tell you what you're doing is BS. I know they would. And I'm starting to see here there is a disconnect. So when you see KHive fighting up back against this stuff, it is not, don't compare us to like the Bernie Sanders bros. That's not what this is. We're fighting systemic oppressions, systemic racism that pours out at us, and we're done. We know Kamala is ready to be president. Let's just put it out there. She's ready day one, and she's certainly ready to be vice president. So we want this to end. And by the way, and Kenny, I see you. I will say this. We're absolutely done with this daily BS of every moment. And I want to say, I'm going to shout out Christopher Cadalgo one more time, because there seems to be some sickening glee he has for publishing another hit piece on her. And I would love to investigate why Politico has an obsession with going after Kamala Harris. Did she sue somebody at Politico? There has to be something, because I haven't seen something this obsessive and maniacal in a long time. I'm done, Kenny.
I want to see everybody who works at Politico's tax returns. I want to see where they're getting their money from. I want y'all to release y'all tax returns. How about that? You can't be a journalist unless you release your tax returns. How about that? I want to know who's on whose payroll. But I just wanted to say this, and this is the last statement I'll probably have for the night. Joe Biden, I'm just disappointed with all the work that Black women put in to get you elected. All the calls and, knocking on doors at the last minute of all things too. They revitalized and revamped your campaign from literally destruction. You were on your last leg. You were in debt. Black women did that. And for you to allow these so-called insiders close to the Joe Biden campaign, these close friends of yours, to disrespect a Black woman like Kamala Harris, who was originally endorsed by Higher Heights, that went to endorse you and campaign for you in South Carolina, it's a slap in the face. And you're already slipping in Black support. So you're just literally are you trying to lose? What's going on? I really want to know, what's the game plan here? The more that you keep taking Black women for granted, the more we're going to notice it, and the more less likely we're actually willing to turn out and vote. You can't just base everything off of, we have the most to lose, so you have to vote. You have the most to lose, so you got to vote. We need a reason to vote too. And you were lacking in enthusiasm. I mean, I'm literally going through my timeline, not just on Facebook, and this isn't just KHive people, and this isn't KHive people at all. These are random people on the internet. They just don't seem enthusiastic about you.
I will say this. I will say it. I don't want to interrupt Kenny, but I just want to say really quickly that, it's going to be insulting. Now I'm going to be insulted if he doesn't pick her, because I'm seeing that in Biden's inner circle of Chris Dodd and Ed Rendell and these just old white men hanging out with each other and talking trash, that they're just like, you know what, you already have the Black vote. Don't even worry about it, no matter what you pick. And to me, what I'm frustrated about is that the disrespect is on so many multiple levels that they don't recognize that if Kamala is picked, not only are we going to vote, but we're going to do everything we can to organize, to make calls, to raise money. There will be that enthusiasm there. And as Reese said earlier too, Kamala has a reach in different communities as well. It's the Black community. Yes, it's also the AAPI community. Yeah. It's also the Latinx community. I think Reese, maybe you said it earlier that she leads by 20% with Latinos. I mean, this is going to be critical. We have to have what has been termed the Obama coalition. Part of my-a-thon was discussing this with Bernard Alfraga, who specializes in turnout. And part of of the turnout gap is not just voter suppression. It is the fact that Democratic leadership has ignored going into different communities, telling them their vote is valuable, and helping give resources and money to mobilize the vote. Okay? If Kamala Harris is VP, I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a massive groundswell right away. We're ready to get to work. So
and
I hope that they see that.
My wallet is closed to you right now, Joe Biden. I ain't doing nothing. Don't look for me for a coin. Don't look for me for a phone call. Stop texting my phone. I'm not doing anything until you announce Kamala Harris is your VP. I'm just letting that be known right now. But again, it would be a slap in the face to the rest of us because for some odd reason, people close to you believe that Kamala Harris is going to dim your shine. Sounds a little like insecurity to me. But I'm not saying that you're insecure. I'm just saying it sounds insecure. And
I said that to Joe Biden tonight.
They blow up my phone every day. It's something. Every day it's something. Talking about Elizabeth Warren wants you to. Oh no, who is that? But anyways, so I just want to say this. I'm gonna be close. If you think that for some odd reason Kamala Harris is going to dim your shine, all she is a beacon that's going to make you shine even brighter. And if for some odd reason you feel that this woman shines too bright, you might want to look at yourself and might want to step it up a little bit. But you need excitement. I don't see that excitement. You need an army. You don't have an army of supporters. You don't really have an army of people willing to take down MAGA because we're already getting complaints and people ready to call the manager on us because, I mean, we bring the receipts, we bring the fire. People just can't handle it. So, child, if you don't, I don't, child, you own your own. If you don't do it right, you will get my vote. That's it. But you are on your own in terms of defense.
Hey, let me say something real quick because we just had 4 years of mafia-style presidency. This word loyalty, it's a dangerous freaking word. Ed Rendell, the one thing I do like about him is he's an Eagles fan. That's where it stops right there. He's a Philadelphia Eagles fan. That's where our commonality will end. But when you say that, you need someone who's going to be loyal. What is this loyalty? That matter of fact, one of the biggest issues I've seen over the last 3.5 years with Donald Trump is he's always seeking loyalty. It's not, and I'm not saying loyalty to the Constitution. In that case, absolutely, yeah, definitely. Loyalty to him. Kiss the ring. I Vito Corleone. Corleone hold the throne. That you know in your heart. No. Like this, we just had this Godfather wannabe, this bootleg Godfather type of presidency. I wouldn't want that again. I don't want someone who's going to kiss the ring. I need someone who's going to work with me, and we're going to address things and challenge inequities and make sure that the least of these are taken care of, and we can identify, where we need to improve. I need someone when I have an idea and it's bull. I can't my mom, but when I'm saying, when it's some bull, when it's some cap, it's gonna come at you and be like, nah, you wild, and do that. And people saying that, that they're still sore about the debate, that when she came and just aired homie out, she aired your whole chest out, homie. On Crip, no, I'm gonna say that, but look, but she did, and it was a great shot. But again, that's a debate. You just showed me how strong you are. You just showed me what you're capable of. I mean, in live, I can read. Thank God for Reese. Thank God for Maya. Thank God for you, Kenny. You know what I'm saying? Thank God for Sid. Thank God for Heather and Jose and everyone else that's going and digging up the past, and what Kamala has done is fantastic. It's one thing to read it and to see your videos is cool. It's another thing to experience that thing in real time. Joe Biden got to feel it. Real time. You know what I'm saying? 8K, living color, HD. You feel what I'm saying? And so now that you've experienced what it's like to get hit by that train, it's like, yo, all right, I see what you're rocking with. This is now, I want you on my team. I'm going to take y'all back on the Republican side. When it was Ronald Reagan and George Bush. Now, some of us may not have been alive. But you know what I'm saying? George Herbert Walker Bush, the first one, he straight up was like, yo, this dude got voodoo economics. This is during the primary. That's what he said about yo, voodoo economics, bro. This cat. We don't know what he's talking about. And they had a very contentious type of primary. It was hitting. Like I saw on the History Channel, I was like, yo, that's wild. But you know, Reagan was like, yo, I want that dude, yo, because he know he gonna check me, and we can get some stuff done together. Anybody can hit that hard. If he gonna do that, he gonna do that to me. I know good and that well. You know what I'm saying? We can go ahead and get some stuff done. That's the only praise I'm ever gonna give Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush. But again, you got to be able to look at that and see, yo, how can I take this weapon and I want this. I want you on my team. You can hit like that. It's a draft. So I you know, this loyalty word. Yeah, when somebody loyal, what you like a dog? Dogs are loyal. Dogs are loyal. That's why you get you want loyalty. You get a dog. A sheepoo. They cute, cuddly, follow you all around. They happy as hell when you walk through the door. Just all over. You know what I'm saying? Just like that. I mean, if you want that, go ahead. I don't need loyalty to me. I need somebody who's going to be loyal to the Constitution. I need somebody who's going to be loyal to the people who are suffering the most. I need people who are going to be aware and have the foresight to see what's coming, not just right now, but 2, 3, 4 years in advance, and be like, oh, this might happen. Let's go ahead and pressure this. You know, let's get somebody in the house and maybe get like a bill kind of started. Let's get the gears going on this, because in a couple of years this might happen. So maybe we put this in work, or let's amend it. Like, that's what I want. Like, that's what you should want. I don't want a loyalty. When I'm looking for a wife, I don't want somebody who's going to be loyal in the fact that she's going to kneel and kiss the ring. Yes, loyal to the agreement of the marriage. Yeah, you better not have nothing in my house. But you know what I'm saying. But as far as like bowing to me, and then she go, nah. I need a woman that's going to challenge me. You know what I'm saying? I need a woman to be like, first of all, like I need to have a conversation that starts off with that. You know, like. Not all the time, when I'm like, baby, am I ever right? Like, ever? Like, but every, you know what I'm saying? but I'm saying, but yeah, the best working tandems, you know what I'm saying? I can't be just, I'm royalty. No. I need, you need someone who is as strong. Matter of fact, I'm about to go biblical on y'all. Listen, you choosing a woman, you have an opportunity to put a literal helpmeet. I want to explain this word real quick. Helpmeet. Helpmeet does not mean helper. It does not mean your servant or your slave or your assistant. A helpmeet is literally, in order to be that, you have to be at least, at the bare minimum, as strong as the person that is helping. At usual, they're stronger. This is what the term helpmeet actually means. So when you're in this situation, when you've dedicated yourself to having a woman VP, fantastic. Good for you, Joe Biden. That's awesome, bro. So when you look at what a woman is, she is at the bare minimum equal in strength and ability. Usually she's stronger and more capable and able to take anything that you have, any idea, anything that's presented, take it, blow it up, look at the fine detail, look at things 4, 5, 10 years in advance, analyze from every angle, angles that you didn't even think of. Take it and then take all the information, all that data, and then hand it back to you like, oh, dang, now I got this whole new thing. It's been multiplied, it's been amplified just because I gave it to this woman. This is what you're dealing with. I didn't mean to go into that sermon right there. Y'all look that up. That's in Genesis.
But no, that was actually a really good one. But when you're talking about loyalty, I think Reese, I saw your the 5 o'clock hour. I think you summed it up, I think, a little bit easy when it comes to loyalty, being the fact that she sits on the Intelligence Committee. So I don't know if you wanted to just re-say or just
and your article too that you wrote was fabulous too.
Thank
you want to mention that'd be great.
Thank you. Yeah, I did write an article about the Chris Dodds. If I had known what David Axelrod was talking about, it would have been both of them getting dragged. But what the point that I made earlier, Kenny, is that this notion that Kamala is untrustworthy is so patently absurd when she sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee, in which you have a very small group of people that are entrusted with the most important national security secrets in the entire world. Every week she sits on that committee. Well, she sits on the committee every day, but every week they have classified briefings. She is clued into things that Joe Biden doesn't know. She's clued into things that no other person who is in contention for the VP stakes has any idea about. She has been entrusted with this since she's gotten to the Senate. So do you know how absurd it is to suggest that a person who has been entrusted and vested by the United States of America with the most serious secrets that we have is characterized in the media and then by these good old boys, emphasis on the boys and old actually, is untrustworthy? Has Ed Rendell been entrusted with the greatest secrets in the country, in the world? I haven't seen it. So there are things that people try to attack Kamala Harris on that are objectively untrue. It is objectively untrue that Kamala Harris is untrustworthy. She would not be sitting on the Senate Intelligence Committee if that were the case. Period. Period. That's just a fact. So let's just get rid of that notion. Drew, you put it out perfectly. They're not looking for loyalty. What they're looking for is fealty. They're looking for a master-servant situation. And it's not lost on me that we talking about Black people and they're looking for a servant, a maid. No shade to maids. They do great dignified work. But I'm saying they want a little servant to go sit behind you. So that's another BS thing. But I've already gone off enough today. I want to play Senator Kamala Harris's words because to me, despite the degradation, despite the way that this is debased, the process, the Democratic Party has been exposed. And the way that it has tried to humiliate her and the way that they've tried to really smack her down. You know, all of this is about tell Cersei it was me. That's what all this is about. Because truth be told, Biden could just quietly not pick Kamala. He could have. Now he can't do it. Now it's not quiet. It's all in the open. He could have just not picked her. KHive would have been disappointed, yeah. Some people would be laughing and kikiing, KHive, he didn't pick her. Okay, that's fine. But substantively, up until this point, people could say, well, you know, maybe this is the reason why this person was picked or that person was picked or whatever else. But these people, sanctioned or unsanctioned, I'm skeptical about how rogue this operation is when you have a Biden campaign person, according to the New York Times, unprompted, calling them to trash Kamala. But okay, that's fine. Maybe it's not sanctioned. But when you sit up here and you have a situation like that, it's just degrading and it's disgusting. It's insidious. It's sinister. But even with all that, the tell Cersei it was me moment. They want Kamala to know we're smacking your Black ass down. They want Kamala to know who the hell do you think you are, Blackie? They want her to know that. They want us to know that. So that there isn't another Kamala Harris. There's not going to be another Kamala Harris if they have anything to do with it that steps to a white man and says that you said something that was completely ahistorical and inappropriate. And you need to be apologetic for that. They don't want another Kamala Harris. That's what all this is about. Because it didn't have to go this way. This is literally unprecedented. It's not me saying that. This is other people saying it is unprecedented what we have seen happen to Kamala Harris. A person that, by all accounts, is a front runner, should be a front runner, is being attacked by a campaign that might end up choosing her. Who does that? But anyway, let me just move on to something, because what I want to say is Chris Dodd, Ed Rendell, David Axelrod, whoever else, fill in the blank, who wants to humble Kamala Harris, who wants to smack her Black ass down, she's unbreakable. You're not winning. You might win with Joe Biden. You might. I wouldn't put it past him. He must agree to some degree because he ain't got y'all in check.
Walk with me.
You might win that. But when it comes to the spirit and the perseverance of this Black woman, she's unbowed. She's unbossed. She's unbreakable. You will never win the war over her spirit, because that's what this is about. It's about being dispiriting. It's about trying to break her
like a horse, child.
They think they're gonna break her. But you know what? Kamala Harris is well versed in history. Shirley Chisholm. She knows what's up. She knows this ain't new. She knows what's happening. Go ahead, sorry.
I know, I just want to say too, and I think that Drew will appreciate this. They might have gotten away with it too. A little Scooby-Doo reference, because, but they did it because they're social media, because they're streaming. And Shirley didn't have that. Shirley Chisholm didn't have that. And these white men in DC and in the media would have already gotten away with tearing apart Kamala, because Black women were frustrated. I know when Shirley was running and when she was treated the way that she was. I know. And all the women that have run since them have all felt that way and had to just stuff it down inside them and have their supporters be frustrated. Well, now we have social media. Now we have platforms. Now we can share information with each other. So they can't get away with it like they used to. They can do a lot of damage, but we can call them out on it. And I know they hate that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They've been getting fried up. They've definitely been getting fried up. But but what trips me out is that they want us to know. Like I said, be clear. This is a tell Cersei it was me moment. But what happened to Lady Oleana? She said tell Cersei it's me. So is that what you want? You on a kamikaze mission. You just don't know it because of your hubris. But it's like you want to humble Kamala, you about to be humble. But my point that is saying this is the buildup, is to the fact that you have not and you will not break her, because you're weak and pathetic and you're transparent and you're remarkably unexceptional. You're remarkably predictable. Men like you have existed since the beginning of civilization. You think you're special because you're a lobbyist or you're an advisor to this person or you was elected here. You're not. You're very average, very basic. And you don't have the authority. You don't have the spiritual authority. You don't have the mental authority. You don't have the moral authority to come for Kamala Harris. And she sent that message to you today. And she sent that message to Black women everywhere. And I just want to play this clip. But before I do that, I just want to shout out the mayor of Long Beach, Robert Garcia, who is dealing with the death of his mom and still took time out of his schedule to still ride for Kamala Harris and meet with via Zoom with the Biden campaign to defend Kamala Harris as he's dealing with the death of his mother. And Mayor London Breed and the California Lieutenant Governor and others who arranged this call to tell the Biden campaign, no. What you're hearing about Kamala's support in the state is wrong. And we support her, and she's a loyal person, and she'd make an amazing VP. So shout out to them. But I want you guys to hear directly from Kamala how she will not, and as upset as I am, livid, and many of us are, Kamala is going to be that dignified Black woman, and she's not going to let you see her sweat. While you getting fried up all over the internet, she's not going to let you see her sweat. So let me just play this, and then I'm done.
Again, she had many sayings. One of them she told me years ago. She said, honey, and I'm saying this to all you young leaders, people will be fine when you take what they give you. But don't take more. And so I say that to say there will be a resistance to your ambition. There will be people who say to you, you are out of your lane, because they are burdened by only having the capacity to see what has always been instead of what can be. But don't you let that burden you. And so, yeah, I've had that experience my entire career, my entire career. And it is, but here's the thing that I want to really, again, emphasize. This will happen to all of you. Here's how you withstand and get through it. You surround yourself with good friends. My best friend from kindergarten is still one of my best friends. Wow. You create family around you, and you choose your family of friends.
And we are Kamala's family. We are the KHive, and we will have her back the same way that she has our backs, the same way that she represents for us. Mission fail. If your mission was to humiliate her, you failed. If your mission was to humble her, sitting U.S. Senator, second Black woman ever to be sitting U.S. Senator, former Attorney General of California, former District Attorney, if your mission was to humble her, you failed. If your mission was to break her, you failed. So hang it up and get used to the words Vice President Kamala Harris. Get used to kissing the ring because your day is coming. Period.
Well, kissing the big black ass is what they're going to be kissing, child. Okay? Shit, fuck a ring.
Well, that's a great way to take it out.
Yes.
It's another live with the KHive. Once again, is here. Drew comments, Maya Contrary, Kenny in his place, Too Raw, Too Real, of course, Black women, you, Reese.
Bye, y'all. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.